I watched my mother's hands tremble as she signed the closing papers. Her manicured nails, fresh from the salon, blood red like a warning, scratching across the dotted line that erased my childhood home from existence. She didn't know I'd hacked her email 6 months ago, uncovering the affair with my high school principal that started it all. The one that led to Dad's accident, she covered up by framing me for the insurance scam. And as she handed the realtor the keys with a smile that didn't reach her eyes, she had no clue the anonymous tip I'd sent to the DA's office was already unraveling her perfect little lie. The one where I took the fall for her sins to keep her precious reputation intact. It was a Tuesday in late October. The kind of crisp Midwest autumn day where the leaves crunch underfoot like brittle bones, and the wind carries the faint rot of something dying. Our house in Elmwood Heights, Ohio, a sprawling colonial with white siding and a wraparound porch that Dad built with his own calloused hands, had been the anchor of my life. I was Demi Hargrove, 24, fresh out of community college with a graphic design degree gathering dust, scraping by on freelance gigs while Mom, Evelyn, played the grieving widow to perfection. Everyone in town pitied her, the elegant real estate agent who'd lost her husband too soon, raising a troubled daughter alone. Troubled. That's what they called me after the fire. The hook came fast that morning. I'd woken to the smell of coffee brewing, unusual because Mom hated the stuff said it stained her teeth. She was in the kitchen, humming an old Patsy Cline tune, her blonde bob impeccable even at dawn.
Demi.
Honey, she said, sliding a mug across the Formica counter. We need to talk. Her voice was syrupy, the kind she used on clients to close deals. I should have known then. But grief does that, blinds you to the knives at your back. She sat me down, papers fanned out like a poker hand she was sure to win. The house is sold. Closing next week. You'll need to be out by Friday.
Just like that. No preamble. No tears.
My stomach dropped, the world tilting on its axis. This wasn't just a house. It was the last tether to Dad, to the life before she turned us into her personal cautionary tale. But Mom.
Why?
We could refinance. Or, I stammered, my voice cracking like a teenager's again. She cut me off with a sharp laugh, the one that echoed in courtrooms when she testified against me. Refinance? With what? Your doodles? This place is underwater.
Demi.
And after what you did. Her eyes flicked to the scar on my left forearm, a puckered reminder of the night the garage went up in flames. The night I confessed to arson for insurance money. The night I lied to protect her. What she didn't say, what no one knew, was that the fire wasn't mine. It was hers. A desperate bid to cash in on Dad's life insurance after she learned he was leaving her for the accountant down the street. But the investigators smelled fraud from a mile away, and to shield her golden girl image, she planted evidence in my sketchbook. Doodles of flames. Notes on quick cash. I was 18, heartbroken over a breakup she blamed on my instability, and she preyed on it. Take the plea. Baby, she'd whispered in the holding cell. It's just 5 years probation. I'll make it right. She never did.
Now.
Here we were. You have 3 days, she repeated, folding the papers with finality. Pack your things. There's a motel voucher on the fridge. I stood there, numb, as she breezed out to her BMW, late for a showing. The door clicked shut, and something inside me snapped, not with rage, but with clarity. I'd been waiting for this. Plotting in the shadows of night shifts at the diner, nursing black coffee and resentment. The affair? I'd found the emails buried in her deleted folder, Steamy exchanges with Principal Hargrove, no relation. Thank God, starting a year before Dad's car crash. The one where brakes failed on a rainy interstate. Mechanical failure, the cops said. But I'd seen the transfer records, $5,000 to a shady mechanic in Cleveland. She'd paid to tamper, then burned the garage to double-dip the payout. And me, the fall guy. My confession sealed it, no trial. Just whispers. Poor Evelyn. With that delinquent daughter. She'd thrived on the sympathy. Climbing the ranks at her agency. Dating up while I clawed my way back from the ashes. But I'd been busy. 6 months ago. Insomnia led me to her laptop during one of her girls' nights. Password, Dad's Angel 87. Pathetic. The files were a goldmine: bank statements, love letters, even a voice memo where she rehearsed blaming me for the crash. Demi was so angry that night. She might have. I'd copied it all to a thumb drive, then started digging. Public records. Old police reports. A PI on the cheap from Craigslist.
Piece by piece.
The noose tightened. First move, the anonymous letter to the insurance company. Flagged for fraud review. They'd bitten. Quietly auditing her claims. Second, screenshots of the affair sent to Principal Hargrove's wife, who worked in the DA's office. Petty? Maybe. Effective? Hell yes. Whispers were already circulating at the country club. As I packed my duffel in the upstairs bedroom, posters peeling from walls like old skin, I heard her pull back in. Heels clicking on the driveway. She burst in, phone to her ear, voice hushed. Yes, I know it's irregular, but the buyer's insistent. Cash offer.
No contingencies.
A pause.
Demi, she's
Handling it. Handling it. Like I was a spill to mop up. I zipped the bag, heart pounding, and slipped downstairs. In the foyer, I paused by the hall mirror, seeing a stranger, sharp cheekbones hollowed by stress, dark hair chopped short in rebellion, eyes like chipped obsidian. Not the scared girl anymore. The woman who'd learned that revenge isn't a dish best served cold, it's a slow poison, dripped one drop at a time. That night, in the cramped motel room smelling of bleach and regret, I fired off the email to the DA. Subject: Hargrove fraud case. 2019. Attachments: everything. Anonymous source: I signed it. She's about to sell the evidence. Sleep didn't come. Instead, visions: Dad's laugh booming from the garage, tools clanging as he fixed my first bike. Mom's smile then. Genuine. Before the hunger for more twisted it. By dawn, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. MS. Hargrove, this is Detective Ruiz. We'd like to discuss your mother's property transaction. The game was on. The days blurred into a frenzy. Mom's showings turned frantic. Buyers backed out citing title issues. She'd corner me in the half-empty house. Boxes stacked like tombstones. What did you do?
Demi?
This isn't right. Her eyes, once so steady, darted like a cornered animal's. Nothing.
Mom.
Karma's just catching up.
Ella.
Sweet as pie. While inside, the storm brewed. By eviction day, the house echoed with ghosts. I lingered in the doorway, key in hand, the one I'd duplicated months ago. Goodbye, Evelyn, I said, using her full name for the first time. It tasted like freedom. She didn't hear the sirens yet. But they were coming. Driving west on I-70, the Ohio flatlands stretching like a faded postcard, I gripped the wheel of my beat-up Civic, the engine whining in protest. The rearview showed Elmwood Heights shrinking, but not vanishing, not yet. Mom's texts piled up. Where are you? This is insane. Call me.
Remy.
I deleted them one by one. Each tap a small exorcism. The motel's voucher had bought me 2 nights. But freedom tasted like stale donuts and the metallic tang of adrenaline. I was headed to Columbus, to a cousin's couch and a temp job at a print shop. But that was the decoy. The real plan hummed in my veins: dismantle her world, brick by vindictive brick. Columbus hit like a fever dream, neon-lit bars spilling drunks onto sidewalks. The Scioto River sluggish under sodium lamps. Cousin Jake, Dad's sister's boy, didn't ask questions when I showed up with my duffel and a haunted stare. Annav kick you out? Figures. He poured whiskey.
Neat.
And we talked late into the night. Jake knew fragments. The fire. The plea. Dad's crash. She always was a climber, he muttered, swirling his glass. Dad said she married for the house, not the heart. I nodded, sipping slow. Jake was solid, tattooed mechanic with a moral compass Dad would have approved. But I didn't spill the full rot. Not yet. Trust was a luxury I'd lost with the house keys. Work started Monday, folding flyers for local polls. The irony biting as I collated campaign promises of justice for all. Lunch breaks. I'd duck into the library, VPN on my phone, monitoring the fallout. The DA's office moved fast, subpoenas flew. Her agency's board called an emergency meeting. News trickled via Reddit's r/Columbus. Elmwood realtor under investigation for fraud? Anonymous posts.
But mine.
I upvoted from a burner account. Mom's calls escalated to voicemails, her voice cracking the facade. Demi,
Please.
whatever you think you know. It's not what it seems.
Come home.
We can fix this. Fix this. Like I was the leaky faucet in her narrative. The first flip came midweek. Principal Hargrove, let's call him Ted, the smarmy bastard with a comb-over and a weakness for younger teachers, reached out via a blocked number. I'd leaked just enough to his wife, Lisa, to make her file for divorce, but not the fraud tie-in. Demi, he wheezed, voice oily over speaker. Your mother's in a bind.
Says you might have.
Information. Help us out. And there's a job at the high school. Guidance counselor. Good pay. I laughed. A bark that startled the barista at the coffee shop. Guidance? For who? The kids you preyed on while screwing my mom? Silence. Then a sputter. That's not look. Evelyn's desperate. The house sale's frozen. Feds are sniffing. Feds. My pulse quickened. I'd aimed local. This was bonus.
Yeah.
IRS flagged the insurance. Something about undeclared income. He paused. Fishing. You wouldn't know about that, would you? I hung up. Heart slamming. Time to accelerate. That night, from Jake's sagging couch, I uploaded the voice memo to a dark web drop, tipped off to a true crime podcaster with 500K followers. Widow's Web, Ohio Housewife's Deadly Secrets. By morning, it was viral. Clips everywhere. Mom's rehearse sob. Demi was so unstable. Jake shook me awake at noon. Holy shit.
Cuz.
Your mom's on the news. The TV flickered. Local affiliate. Stern anchor. Evelyn Hargrove, prominent Elmwood agent, detained for questioning in connection with her late husband's fatal accident. Sources say new evidence points to tampering. I feigned shock. But inside, triumph loomed dark and thorny. Detained. Not arrested yet. Her lawyer. The slick firm she'd afforded with dirty money.
Bought time.
But the neighbors' pity had curdled to suspicion. Facebook groups buzzed. Knew she was shady. What about the daughter? Framed. The controversy ignited. Pundits on cable weighed in, Fox calling it a mother's tragic unraveling, MSNBC systemic failure to protect the vulnerable.
Me?
I was the wild card. The troubled girl, now painted as victim or villain. Online sleuths doxed my freelance portfolio, speculating. Did she burn it herself for sympathy? It polarized fast. Justice for Evelyn trended alongside Freedemi. I watched from afar, sipping Jake's Folgers, as the twins' sides formed.
Momscam, loyal clients.
Church ladies, spinning her as overwhelmed mom. Mine, true crime junkies, women's rights accounts, demanding my record expunged. But the real schemer was Mom.
Oh.
She flipped like a pro. From victim to aggressor overnight. Oppressor from her lawyer. My client is devastated by these baseless accusations, allegedly fueled by her own daughter, who has a history of instability. Boom. Me as the betrayer. Texts from old friends. Demi. WTF? Your mom's crying on TV. I didn't respond. Instead, I drove back to Elmwood under cover of dusk. The Civic's headlights cutting fog like accusations. The house, for now hers, impounded pending investigation, sat dark. Yellow tape fluttering. I parked a block away, hood up, and circled to the backyard. The oak Dad planted for my birth loomed, branches clawing the sky. Flashlight from my phone, under the loose deck board. My insurance policy. The original mechanic's invoice. Swiped during a cleaning visit months back.
Proof of the brake job.
Tucked beside it, a USB with dashcam footage. Dad's old car had one. Forgotten in the glove box. I'd retrieved it from impound with a forged letter. Heart in throat. It showed nothing conclusive. But the timestamp? Right after her errand to Cleveland. As I pocketed it, headlights swept the street. Panic surged. Cops?
No.
Her BMW. Pulling erratic into the drive. She stumbled out. Mascara rivers. Clutching a wine bottle like a talisman. Demi? Her whisper carried on the wind. Had she seen me? I froze. Breath shallow. She scanned the shadows. Then laughed, a broken, manic sound. I know you're out there, baby. Come finish it. I slipped away. Pulse thunderous. She was unraveling, but not done. Not by half. Back in Columbus, the podcaster DM'd, got a lead on the principal. Meet. We did, in a dive bar off High Street. Him nursing a IPA. Me a Coke. Name's Riley. Your tip's gold. But Evelyn? She's lawyered up, claiming you fabricated it all. Got psych records from your teen years, depression, after your folks' fights. Fights she'd started. Gaslighting Dad into doubt. Let her, I said coolly. I've got more. We traded details. He promised airtime. As I left, phone buzzed. Lisa Hargrove.
Demi?
Ted's confessing. About the affair.
And?
He mentioned Evelyn asking about fixing brakes. On your dad's car. The flip.
Ted.
cornered by divorce papers, ratting to save his tenure. Mom's house of cards wobbled. But she countered vicious. Next morning, warrants hit my name, not for fraud, but harassment. Anonymous tips traced to your IP, the detective said over the line. Care to explain? She'd hacked back. Or paid someone. My VPN slipped. Just once. Jake bailed me out, $500 he couldn't spare. This ends bad.
Demi.
Walk away. Can't, I whispered, staring at the precinct wall. Mugshots of strangers. She took everything. The tension coiled tighter. Protests outside her arraignment. Signs for and against. Chants clashing. I watched live stream. Anonymous in the crowd's digital roar.
Mom.
In cuffs.
No mock-up.
Eyes locking the camera. My daughter destroyed us. Lies. All lies. But doubt crept in. Had I gone too far? The secret I'd buried, my own hand in the fire. Not arson. But I'd known about the gasoline cans, hidden them after a fight with Dad. Not to burn, but to...
What?
Sabotage her affair car? A teen's rage. Unacted. But guilt festered. No time for what-ifs. The climax loomed. Her trial. My testimony. I'd flipped the script. The courthouse in downtown Columbus squatted like a concrete beast. All brutalist angles and echoing halls that swallowed footsteps and secrets alike. It was early December now. Snow dusting the steps where protesters gathered. Blue, stand with Evelyn, banners clashing with red, truth for Demi placards. Camera crews jostled for shots. The air electric with that uniquely American circus. Justice as spectacle. Where personal ruin becomes primetime fodder. I slipped past in a borrowed trench coat. Jake's Giants cap pulled low. My breath fogging the chill.
Testimony day.
The day I'd drag her skeletons into the light. Or bury us both. Inside. The courtroom smelled of polished wood and stale coffee. The gallery packed with rubberneckers. Mom's sorority sisters dabbing eyes. True crime TikTokers live streaming on whispers. I took the stand. Hand on the Bible, didn't flinch. Though God and I hadn't chatted since Dad's funeral. The prosecutor, a wiry woman named Vasquez with a nobleship bun, led me through it gentle, like unwrapping a bomb. MS. Hargrove, she said, voice steady. Tell the court about the night of the fire. I swallowed. Eyes on Mom at the defense table. She looked smaller. Silk blouse rumpled. Her lawyer, a silver fox from Akron, patting her hand. It was 2 years after Dad's crash. Mom was
distant.
Dating again. I found emails. Gasps rippled. I detailed the affair. The fraud whispers. My confession scripted by her tears in that cell. She said it'd ruin her if the truth came out. That I was the strong one. Vasquez nodded. Handing exhibits, the voice memo. Timestamped. The jury, 12 Midwestern faces. Farmers and clerks, leaned in as her voice filled the room. Demi's unstable. She might have. Mom's head snapped up. Denial in her glare. Cross-examination was a slaughter. Her lawyer, Ellis, circled like a shark. MS.
Hargrove.
You've had mental health issues. Suicide attempt at 16. The gallery murmured. Mom's doing pills from her purse. After I caught her with Ted. She'd called it my cry for help. Got me committed for a weekend. Yes, I admitted. Voice even. But that doesn't change facts. Objection. Vasquez shot up, but Ellis pressed. And the fire? Your sketches, flames. Insurance notes. Planted? Or projection of your rage? I met his eyes. Planted. By her. The courtroom erupted, bangs from the gavel. Shouts from the back. Mom buried her face. Shoulders shaking. Real tears? Or Oscar bait? The judge cleared the room for recess. And as bailiffs escorted her, she twisted toward me. Why?
Demi?
I gave you everything. Everything. I hissed. Low enough for only her. You gave me chains. Recess in the witness lounge. Stale vending machine chips. Fluorescent buzz. Jake texted. Holding up? News says you're unhinged. I laughed bitterly. Scrolling comments, half calling me hero. Half harpy. The polarization peaked here. The revenge arc twisting into moral quicksand. Was I avenging Dad? Or settling scores? The secret nod. Those gasoline cans. I'd hidden them in the garage after overhearing her plot with Ted. Just to scare? Make him sell. But Dad found them. Confronted her. The fight escalated. I panicked. Stashed deeper. Not arson, but enabling. My mistake. Buried like hers. Afternoon brought witnesses. The mechanic, greasy overalls and shifty eyes, confirmed the brake job. $5,000 cash. No questions. Lady said it was for safety. Ted Hargrove, sweating under lights, admitted the affair. The whispers of fixing the marriage and the car. Evelyn was scared he'd leave. Took everything. Lisa Hargrove followed, poised in pearls. I confronted her. She laughed, said Demi was the real problem. Always jealous. The jury shifted, doubt-seated. Mom's turn. The defense's Hail Mary. She took the stand, transformed, hair swept, voice quaver. I loved my husband. The crash.
Tragique accident.
Demi struggled after. The fire? She confessed freely. I protected her. Took the blame in my heart. Tears flowed. Genuine or not. She's twisting it now. For attention. My baby girl's broken. The gallery ate it up, sniffles.
Nods.
Ellis spun the narrative. Grieving mom versus vengeful daughter. No physical evidence ties Mrs. Hargrove to tampering. Only hearsay from a girl with a vendetta. Vasquez's redirect faltered. The dashcam was circumstantial. Timestamp fuzzy. As court adjourned for the day, protesters surged, fists raised. One hurling traitor, my way. I ducked into Jake's truck. Sirens wailing distant. That night, in a safe house Airbnb, paranoia spiking, I paced. Wine glass trembling. The podcast called. Episode drops tomorrow. You want on? I declined.
Too raw.
Instead, I drafted the final play, a letter to the judge. Unsealed. My full confession, not arson. But the cans. I bear partial blame. But she orchestrated the rest. Controversial? Hell yes. It had split the jury. Pity for her.
Suspicion for me.
No clear villain. Morning brought the twist shadow. Ellis cornered me in the hall. Envelope in hand. Your mother's offer. Drop the testimony. She confesses to fraud only, no murder charge. You get the house. Cleared record. I stared.
Billet de cinq.
The house? Blood money. Tell her no. But add this. I know about the second policy. On me. Her eyes, insurance on her troubled daughter. Payout if I snapped. The ultimate betrayal. Buried deepest. Trial dragged. Days of forensics. Experts clashing. The mechanic recanted under pressure. Cash looks like anyone. Ted flipped again, claiming coercion by me. Lies layered like smog. Climax hit on day 5. Closing arguments. Vasquez painted Mom as Medea, sacrificing kin for greed. Ellis countered. A mother's love, warped by a daughter's hate. The jury deliberated 18 hours. Pizza deliveries. Tense leaks. I waited in a bar, nursing bourbon. Strangers debating my fate. She's a monster.
Nah.
Kids destroy families. Verdict at dawn. Fraud guilty.
Tampa ding hum.
Mistrial on murder. Deadlock. 9-3 for acquittal. Mom walked on the big one. Probation on fraud. Assets frozen. But the house? Auctioned to pay restitution.
Me?
Record expunged. But scarred. She called that night. Voice hollow. You win.
Demi.
But at what cost? I hung up, staring at the USB backup plan. The real twist waited. Winter clamped down on Columbus like a vice. Ice sheeting the streets and frosting the windows of my new studio apartment, a shoebox above a laundromat. Rent scraped from Jake's loans and gig economy scraps. The trial's echo lingered, headlines faded, but the schism didn't. Online forums fractured into cults, Evelyn's angels fundraising for her defense, Demi's demons crowdfunding my vindication. I ignored it all, burying under sketches, dark vignettes of burning houses, shadowed figures. Catharsis. Or confession. The hung jury gnawed at me. Mom free on the crash meant Dad's ghost unrest. But the revenge? Half-baked. She'd lost the house. Her license suspended. Ted's wife suing for alienation. Small cuts. Not the kill. January thawed into mud. And with it, her counter-move. A knock at my door, 3 sharp raps. Hesitant. I peered through the peephole, Mom. Bundled in a cashmere coat too thin for the damp. Hair limp. Face gaunt.
No makeup. No armor. Demi.
Please. Against better judgment, I cracked the door. She stepped in, eyes scanning the chaos. Takeout boxes. Art supplies strewn like shrapnel. Nice place, she said, voice small. Sat on the futon, hands twisting a tissue.
I'm sorry.
For the house. For everything. I leaned against the wall, arms crossed, echo of her kitchen stance. Sorry doesn't buy back Dad. Her flinch was real. I didn't the brakes. It was an argument. I paid the mechanic to check.
Not.
Tamper. Ted lied. Fresh tears. And the fire? I panicked. Planted those notes to scare you straight. Thought it'd toughen you.
Lies.
Layered thicker. But her eyes, cracked porcelain, stirred something. Pity?
Stockholm.
Why me? Mom? Why frame your own kid? She reached for my hand. I pulled back. Because you were disposable. Strong like your father. I was the fragile one. The one who needed saving. A laugh. Bitter. And now, bankrupt. Alone. The angels? They vanished when the checks bounced. Schadenfreude twisted in my gut. But so did doubt. The trial exposed my can's secret, leaked by Ellis, painting me complicit. You knew about the gasoline, she'd sobbed on stand. Hid it to hurt me. The jury's deadlock? My doing. as much as hers. No heroes here. We talked, fractured, halting. She admitted the affair, the insurance skim, even the policy on me. A precaution. In case you. After the attempt, twisted love. American as apple pie laced with arsenic. By midnight, a truce formed. Help me appeal, she pled. Testify again. Clear us both. I nodded. Throat tight. One condition, the truth. All of it. On record. She agreed. Eyes gleaming, relief? Or scheme? I wired Riley the podcaster. Exclusive. Mother-daughter reconciliation. The episode aired mid-February. Us in a neutral cafe. Mike's hot. Mom tearful. I failed her. But Demi's forgiving. That's the real story.
Me?
Measured. Betrayal cuts deep. But family's blood. Ratings soared. Sponsors called. Redemption arc trended. The polarization softening to inspirational. But I was playing long. While she lawyered for appeal, I dug deeper. Hired a hacker kid from a Discord group. $2,000 on Venmo. Trace her offshore account. The one from the fraud skim. Hidden in Cayman shells. We found it. $300,000. Siphoned post-crash. Confrontation at her motel. CD join-off I-71. Neon buzzing vacancy. She opened in robe. Startled.
Demi?
What's? I held up printouts. Unflinching. The slush fund. Dad's blood money. Her face drained. That? For us. For your future. Liar. I stepped in. Door clicking shut. Confess. Or I tipped the feds. She backed to the bed. Eyes wild. You'd ruin us again? After the podcast. Us. Laughter escaped.
Sharp.
There is no us. The flip came swift, her hand to the nightstand drawer. Pulling a .38 snub-nose. Dad's old service revolver. Accidentally overlooked an impound. You think I didn't plan for this? My daughter's a threat. Time slowed. Barrel glinting. Her finger whitening. Controversial calculus. Shoot the betrayer. Or the monster. I lunged. Grabbing wrist. We tumbled. Grunting. The gun skittering. Fists flew. Her nails raking my cheek. My knee to her gut. For Dad. I snarled. Pinning her. Sirens wailed. My burner called to 911. Prepped. Domestic disturbance. Motel 6. Room 12. Gun. Cops burst in. She screamed innocence. Me the aggressor. Handcuffs for both. Hers for the weapon. Mine for assault. But the printouts? Evidence, jackpot. Feds swarmed by dawn. Money laundering. Tax evasion. The policy on me? Attempted fraud. Bail hearing. Her denied. Me released on Jake's bond. The media frenzy reignited. Mommy dearest murder plot. Debates raging. Demi provoked it versus Evelyn's unhinged. No sides clean. My reconciliation exposed as ploy. In the precinct. Waiting release. She was led past an orange. Our eyes met. Hers feral. Mine steel. You set me up, she hissed. Mirrors you. Evelyn. Spring bloomed as her empire crumbled. Assets seized. Angels scattering. The house auctioned to a flipper family. Oblivious to ghosts. I got a settlement. Victims comp. Enough for art school in Chicago. Jake hugged goodbye. Proud.
Cuz.
But watch your back. The tension peaked in her plea deal. 20 years. Fraud and endangerment. No murder charge, gun self-defense.
But the twist?
During sentencing, her final statement, Demi knew about the breaks. She suggested the mechanic. To hurt me, after the affair.
Gasps.
The courtroom froze. McCann's secret amplified, complicity implied. Judge's gavel fell, but doubt lingered. Reporters swarmed. Demi's revenge or shared sin? I walked out free, but fractured. The revenge?
Pyrrhic.
Dad avenged. But at what fracture? Chicago's summer heat wave hit like a fever. Humidity clinging to skyscrapers and my skin as I hauled boxes into a walk-up in Wicker Park. Art supplies. Thrift store furniture. A single photo of Dad grinning by the grill. Art school started in fall. Scholarships greased by the settlement. The DA's Inconvenient Truth Award for Whistleblowers. Life reboot. American dream repackaged. Hustle from the ruins. But the scar tissue itched. Mom's glare from the stand. Her parting shot seeding weeds in my vindication. She suggested the mechanic. Lies or half-truth. I'd suggested nothing. But the fight. I'd screamed. Fix your own mess, after catching her with Ted. Coincidence twisted to conspiracy. The podcast reunion special aired in July. Riley's voice booming from my laptop as I unpacked.
Clips of us.
The cafe truce. Now autopsy fodder. Was it all a setup? He probed a panel, psychologist, lawyer.
Exculp.
Classic Munchausen by proxy inverted. Daughter poisons the well. Comments flooded. Demi's the real villain.
No.
Evelyn gaslit her into this. The debate immortalized. My inbox a war zone threats. Fan mail. A producer offering tell-all rights. I ignored. Diving into classes, charcoal nudes, digital renders of fractured families. Professors praised the raw edge, unaware it was memoir. Jake visited once. Train ticket thin. Bearing Dad's old toolbox. Fix what's broke.
Demi.
Inside, too. We bar-hopped Division Street, laughing over shots. But his eyes worried. Heard she's appealing. Claiming coercion by you. Coercion. I snorted. From a jail cell? Lawyers twist anything. He hugged tight. Call if it ghosts you. Fall leaves turned gold as her appeal hit warp speed. Pro bono from a right-wing legal aid. Spinning her as canceled mom. Rallies outside the appeals court. MAGA hats chanting, Free Evelyn. Deep state frame. Counter-protesters with Me Too signs. Abusers don't get second chances. I watch streams from a campus cafe. Steam from my latte blurring the screen. The polarization peaked absurd, cable segments pitting family values versus feminist revenge porn. No one right. All wrong. Then the gut punch. Subpoena. Her team deposed me. Virtual from a sterile Zoom. Ellis. Smug as ever. Grilled. You suggested the break check. Correct? After threatening her life. Lies. I snapped. But doubt flickered. Memory's a tricky bitch, had I? Rage blinded. Words weaponized. The hearing, packed gallery. Mom in cuffs but composed. Knew Bob Severe. Her testimony. Demi hated me for loving again. Planted evidence. Forced my confession. The gun? Protection from her. Ellis submitted proof. Edited text from a burner. Fix the brakes or I'll tell. Forged, but time-stamped pre-crash. My stomach roiled. The hacker kid swore clean. But leaks happen. Vasquez. Now my reluctant ally. Crossfired. Fabricated. Like everything MS. Hargrove touches. But the panel 3 judges. Conservative lean. Hunched. Murmuring. Adjournment dragged weeks. I painted furiously. Canvases screaming betrayal in crimson and black. Jake's calls. She's got influencers. Go fund me at 50K. I spiraled. Nights haunted by what-ifs. The cans? My sin. The tip? Hers. Perhaps. Whispered to plant deeper doubt. Verdict dropped on a rainy Tuesday. Appeal granted. Retrial on endangerment only. Murder charges dropped for insufficient evidence. Probation. Community service.
Free.
The world exploded. Protests turned riots. Elmwood burned effigies. Chicago activists marched my building. Death threats pinged. Killer spawn. I hold up. Blinds drawn. The noose of controversy tightening. Riley offered airtime. Your side.
Demi.
Fight back. I did. One last play. Press conference. Flanked by Vasquez and a PI. New evidence. Mom's Cayman logs. Tied to the forger. And this. The dashcam. Cleaned up by Tex. Her silhouette at the mechanics. Handing cash. Not a check. A threat. Feds rearrested her mid-gloat. Cameras flashing as she spat. Bitch daughter. Trial 2. Swift.
Damning.
Guilty on all. 25.
No parole.
The twist landed soft. In her final allocution. She turned to me. Voice breaking. I did it for you.
Demi.
To give you the life I never had. Forgive. The courtroom hushed. I stood. Mic hot.
No.
But I understand. Monsters make monsters. Sentence fell. Gavel echoed. Outside. Crowds parted. Angels weeping. Demons cheering. But the debate? Eternal. Forums buzzed. She redeemed.
Nah.
Sociopath to the end. Happy? For Dad's ghost. Yes. Tragic? For the girl I was. Utterly. Years later. In a Soho gallery. My exhibit, Ashes and Alibis, draws whispers. Patrons debate the shadows. Victim or villain. I sip Chardonnay. Jake at my side. Mom's letters unopened in a drawer. Revenge's end? A mirror. Cracked but clear.
No winners.
Just survivors. And in the quiet, I hear Dad. Build something?
Kid.
From the wreck.
I have.